If you're wondering whether it's time to hire a fractional VP of sales, there's a good chance the signs are already showing up. The problem is, they usually don't look like sales leadership problems at first. They look like the normal frustrations that come with running and growing a business. So most owners try to fix the obvious things first. More sales activity, more leads, more pressure on the team, even another sales hire. But after 25 years in sales and business leadership, including more than 20 years leading teams across national and multinational companies, I've seen this pattern many times. When a business reaches a certain point, the question isn't just, do we need more sales? The question is, has the business outgrown the way sales are currently being led? So in this video, I'll walk through 5 signs that you may need to hire a fractional VP of sales. And the last one is one that owners often recognize, but don't always know how to fix. The first sign is one of the most common in owner-led businesses, and at first, it doesn't necessarily feel like a problem. As the owner, you know the customers, you know the history, you know the value proposition, you know how to handle the difficult conversations. And in a lot of cases, you probably are the best salesperson in the business. But if every important deal still seems to come back to you, that's the problem. Because that tells me the business may not really have a sales system yet. It has you. It has your knowledge, your relationships, your instincts, and your experience. But those things haven't been transferred into a process the rest of the team can actually follow. And that creates a ceiling. You stay pulled into the day-to-day sales process instead of focusing on the bigger direction of the company. And if you ever wanted to sell the business, or even just make it less dependent on you, that creates another issue. Because a buyer doesn't just want to know that sales are happening. They want to know that sales can keep happening without you driving every important relationship. So if the business still depends on you to move important deals forward, that's not just a time management issue. That might be a sales leadership issue. The second sign is when there's a lot of activity, but the results are still unpredictable. From the outside, it can look like the team is doing the right things. Your salespeople are making calls, sending emails, having meetings, and following up. So on paper, the business looks like it's moving. There's activity. But when you look at the numbers, the results don't seem to match the effort that's being put in. The pipeline isn't clear. The forecast keeps changing. Good opportunities get stuck. Leads are coming in, but they're not always the right leads. And nobody can explain simply and clearly why some deals move forward and others don't. That's the real warning sign. The team is busy, but revenue is still unpredictable. And when that happens, the issue usually isn't effort. It's the system underneath the effort. If that's not clear, the business can start confusing activity with progress. And that's a dangerous place to be because everyone can feel busy while the business still isn't moving forward. The third sign is that the sales process isn't really a system yet. This is where you start looking at the infrastructure beneath the sales team. How are leads being qualified? How is the pipeline being managed? Is the CRM actually being used properly? Or has it become more of an administrative burden? Does the team have a clear playbook? Or is everyone working from their own version of how sales should happen? These are the kinds of questions that matter because a lot of companies have tools, but they don't always have a system. They may have a CRM, sales meetings, reports, or even a process written down somewhere. But if those things aren't being used consistently, they won't create predictable growth. At the end of the day, a sales system has to give the business visibility. It should help you see what's in the pipeline, what's real, what's stuck, what needs attention, and what the team should be doing next. If that isn't happening, then the business is still relying too much on individual effort. And individual effort is hard to scale. That's where a fractional VP of sales can help build the structure, the process, and discipline that makes sales more consistent. The fourth sign is where a lot of businesses lose time and money. Most owners are used to solving problems. That's how they built the business. But when sales aren't working the way they should, they start looking for the thing that they can fix. They change the marketing. They push harder on lead generation. They replace a few people. They hire another salesperson. Or they bring in a consultant or a more experienced sales manager. And those fixes make sense at the time, but even after all of that, the same problems keep coming back. That's usually when the real issue becomes clear. The business has been trying to fix symptoms, but it hasn't diagnosed the real problem yet. At the end of the day, you've got to understand what's actually going on. Because if you can't explain the issue in a sentence or two, you probably don't have it yet. And if you don't have the real issue, it's very easy to spend a lot of time and a lot of money fixing the wrong thing. And finally, the fifth sign is the big one. Your sales team may not be set up to perform at the level the business needs. This is really important because business owners usually have a sense when something isn't quite right with the team. Results may be inconsistent. Some reps are doing well, while others are struggling. A new hire isn't ramping up the same way you expected. Someone may have moved into the role because the business needed the role to be filled, but they may not be actually comfortable in that position. Or maybe your manager used to be a strong salesperson, but now they're being asked to lead, coach, develop, and manage people. And that's a very different skill set. That doesn't mean you have bad people. It means the team needs to be evaluated properly. That includes making sure the right people are in the right roles, that they've been onboarded properly, that expectations are clear, that they're getting the coaching they need, and that they're comfortable going out and hunting for new business when that's required. Those things matter because even a good sales system won't work if the people using it haven't been trained, coached, or supported properly. But you can't make those decisions until you assess the team, the leadership, and the system around them. That's where experienced sales leadership becomes important. Because the goal isn't just to tell people to work harder. The goal is to get the right people in the right roles with the right process. So if you're seeing one or more of these signs in your business, that's when an experienced fractional sales leader can help. A fractional VP of sales or leader doesn't just come in and tell the team to sell more. A fractional sales leader can help identify the real gaps, build the right solution, and help the team execute it. For some businesses, that means clarifying the sales strategy. For others, it's building the right sales infrastructure, improving the sales process, strengthening sales management, or helping the sales team perform at a higher level. But the goal is actually pretty simple. It's to build a sales function that's less dependent on the owner and more predictable for the business. If you're noticing any of these signs, let's talk and see whether hiring a fractional VP of sales makes sense for you.